I like when people doubt me. So when I came up there, they was like, "Yo, I had my turntable. I'm DJing in the room. We did a whole party in the dorm in one room, and they just kicked us out. And then like this girl was like, "Yo, you do our sorority thing." So I did some joining in the mess, not the mess hall, the food hall.
Yeah.
And it was like a DJ. His name was Bionic Man. And he was like, "Yo, why y'all got him?" And that's when I was going about Basketball J.
Oh, okay.
And I was DJ Basketball J, and he's like, "Yo, why you got him?" He was on the radio. I'm like, What you mean he got me? I've always been a live cracker. So I was like, all right, whatever. Boom. I went hard, and I started doing all these parties, and the party started picking up because I had my broken ankle. Season was over, and how I got my name was I was in the lunchroom, and it was they have a Spring Fest, a concert.
Yeah.
And they was like, I was like, "Yo, watch, I'm going to do that. And, I'm going to blow up. I'm going to tell you I'm going to do that." Because I was like doing like Madison Square Garden. That's like, in the arena. And my African man band was like, "Yo, you always talking shit. You should call yourself Superstar J." I was like, "Yo, that shit sound hot. Like better than Basketball J." I was like, Superstar. And then from there, I DJ, got on the radio, college radio, once again hustling. I wanted to find out how to get records. And the guy was like, "Yo, here's a radio book of all the label dudes." So I would call all the label dudes and act like I was in a big radio station in Buffalo. And they'd be like, "Yo, what's your call numbers?" I'm like, WBNY. They was like, "Yeah, what you playing?" I'm like, this and that. They was like, "Okay." So next thing you know, Def Jam sending me records.
Crazy.
Lecture that like my records, like because they thinking I'm on a big radio station. And then Rob Love called me like, "Yeah, we gonna come now. We doing a tour." And I remember the first time I met Nori. Wow. And then you just showed the record, and then he walked in. He's like, "I'm sure this is a fucking college radio station." I was like, "Yeah." He's like, I fuck it, man. We do the interview. I did it with Foxy, and I just became big. And then when I came, I started just doing all the parties. Like I bought a house, I auctioned a house, bought a house with my mans, and I was Superstar J. And then when I came back to New York, I was Jay. I was like, "Yo," and I was like, "What do I need to do to blow up?" Yeah. And coming from college, I had a bunch of white friends, and they had access to the internet before people would just go to labels and steal it. I didn't have to go to labels; they would just find it in these little rooms, and I used to get the exclusives. And my cousin one time was like, "Yo," I was like, "Yo, I want to be a mixtape DJ," but I studied it. I studied it down to the covers. I studied it down to, I always knew how to talk. I knew how to, when I came back, I was not a mixtape DJ.
Yeah.
I was rocking parties. Like I was doing a frat, you know what I mean? I'm doing all type. I'm coming back
festivals and all that?
Not festivals, college parties with 300 to 500 people.
Like frat houses and all that
like,
stuff.
You know what I mean? I'm doing that. And then I come back and the biggest club is like the Boom Boom Room that holds 40 people, but that was like the biggest club on Farm. Like you had to be in there. And they wasn't letting me in. They didn't know who I was. And I had to build myself up. And I did the mixtapes. I remember the first time I dropped a mixtape, it was, I printed out like 2,000 mixtapes. I only sold 3. One on the Ave. Damn. African dude's like, "Who are you?" I'm like, "You Superstar J." Like, whatever. And it didn't work. So I think I'm giving my cousin back his money. So every time I used to feel big-headed in mixtapes, I would go to my garage and look at all the mixtapes I didn't sell. So after that, I dropped another mixtape, and it had my man found, and I had an interview with Akon, and it was the Akon and Styles P record.
Locked Up.
I didn't know that. I didn't know who Akon was. I just knew Styles P.
Yeah.
And the record was hot. And I put it out on the Ave, and it sold out. So the Africans dudes was calling me like, yo, bring that mixtape back. You got, and he's Akon. Yeah. And they was like, yo, he familiar. He's African. So they sold a mixtape. The next thing you know, I was talking to Skane, and I was like, yo, man, I need exclusive, bro. And he gave me exclusive with Joe Buttons coming at G Unit.
Ooh.
And that's and in the mixtape, I dropped one, and I did the back. I've been Overnight Celebrity Part 2 the second day, and this mixtape sold so many. He said, "I'm gonna give you one day," and everybody then I started going uptown, and it just went from there.
Took off from there.
Yeah.
So at this point, who's in the mixtape game at this point with you?
Everybody, man.
Like,
I
what's
mean,
the
me.
competition?
I mean, Big Mike, Who
Big
Kid,
Mike, Who
Clue. I'm K Slade, Cutmaster C,
Green Lantern.
Green Lantern. You know, when I was going there, when I first started, I was only selling like 200 to 300 mixtapes.
This is before before the drama candle.
Drama was there. Drama was there. I was king. You know, he was there.
But this early on though. This ain't you king. This because you blew up before drama, right?
Nah, Drama was popping. Drama was like South, so it was like, you know what I mean. I was East Coast, but I didn't really blow up until like a year like later. Like I started studying it, and I felt like I was the first person to really throw a mixtape where you would have the cover. So people used to do double covers of the same mixtape. What I would do is I would throw a mixtape with R&B on the side, and it was called Making Babies. That was the first mixtape I sold with 3,000 to 4,000 CDs because it was called Making Babies. It was all the slow jam joints. So then I dropped the mixtape, but I would use both covers so I would save money. So when you buy a mix, so people would think I'm dropping a lot, but I wasn't. I would drop 500. So I have 250 hip hop and I have 250 R&B. But you'll split the cover and you have the R&B, you flip the cover hip hop. So people would just sell out, and I just started selling out, and I just started dropping every week. Like,
crazy.
And I went from 500 to 2,000 to 10,000 CDs to 20,000 CDs a week.